I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. You need to own one of these if you're a man, okay? If you're a man, you need to own a tourniquet. Why on earth do you not own a tourniquet? You need to buy one. The ex-convicts that watch my videos, they're going to be like, well, in prison we knew how to make a homemade tourniquet. And yes, in prison we had no choice but to make homemade tourniquets, bro. We're not in prison. We're free. We can buy a tourniquet now. And the last thing I want to do if I have an arterial bleed is to have to make an improvised tourniquet. If you have an arterial bleed, every second that ticks by, you're going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. The average person is going to pass out long before they die if you have an arterial bleed. So you need to be able to get this around you very fast. Another thing is, if you own a tourniquet, but you've never practiced putting it on, it's literally just like a feel-good LARP. The only saving grace to owning a tourniquet and not knowing how to use it is maybe you'll happen to be with somebody that knows what they're doing, and then you'll have a tourniquet. But really, you need to practice putting it on yourself. Remember, you're a grown man, you can put on your own tourniquet, okay? You know, keep in mind, you know, men, we like power tools, we like chainsaws, we like knives. So this isn't just like a tactical prepper thing. This is literally every man should have a tourniquet, okay? So this is one of my favorite tourniquets. This is a soft tourniquet. I really, really like the design of this. You throw it on, and then I like to push it this way and then pull down on the strap like so. It's hard to do because I got gear on. It makes it more hard, but you want a realistic scenario, right? So my gear's kind of getting in the way of me doing it, but you notice I'm still able to do it, right? And so there's a triangular slack indicator. I don't see the slack indicator on the tourniquet. That's indicating that the tourniquet is tight enough. And it's pretty simple. You just turn the tourniquet. And I'm not going to turn it too tight because I don't actually have an arterial bleed. But you turn the windlass of the tourniquet and then you put it in this little holder thing here and it holds it. I honestly don't think it matters which way you turn the windlass. If I'm wrong, please leave that in the comment section. Let me know how I'm wrong. And then obviously you need to write down what time it is on the tourniquet. I like these Madison Supply trauma shears. And this is in case you need to cut clothing. In many situations, you need to cut clothing, particularly when you need to get a tourniquet around the legs. A lot of time you just got to cut the clothing. So for those of you that wear $600 Cry Precision pants, that's going to be a really bad day. And then obviously you need a Sharpie marker. Tourniquets have a specific area where you're supposed to write down what time you put them on. You will notice that every single one of my IFAKs has a tourniquet, trauma shears, and boo-boo kit, and Sharpie marker. And I usually keep more than one Sharpie marker in case one of them goes dry. This is one of my chest rigs. It's the same exact story on this chest rig. On every tactical loadout I have, it's the same story. You have the trauma shears, you have the Sharpie, you have the tourniquet and a holster. I do the same thing every time. I mean, if you're like me and you know the right people, you could probably get ketamine. But I'm not saying I have ketamine, but I don't have ketamine. Okay, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Anyways, yeah, you want to have some type of pain mitigation. So the saying is high and tight, right? You want to put it high and tight. I know all types of people that have a medical background that have all types of arguments about like how you should put a tourniquet on. Should you turn it clockwise? Should you turn it counterclockwise? Should you do high and tight, or should you do closer to the wound so you won't lose as much blood? There's been so many arguments about that, but everybody I know that does like emergency trauma medicine, everybody I know that has basic training involving a tourniquet says just put it high and tight. Just put it several inches above the wound, and then just make sure it's high above the wound, and then just tie it tight. Like that's what I've been told. You know, there's different arguments about if you have advanced medical training, do your thing. I'm not telling you what to do, okay? But I'm telling you from the perspective of a guy that kind of knows what he's doing. I know enough to keep myself alive until I can get better medical care from somebody that knows what they're doing. And what I personally know is high and tight, right? If you have some more detailed instructions, if you have a medical background, I'd love to hear that in the comment section. If there's anything I'm doing wrong, I'd love to hear that in the comment section. I've never put a tourniquet on in an actual real world situation. I've never had an arterial bleed that required a tourniquet. You guys know I got scars all over my body from if you don't know by now, you need to watch all of my other videos, okay? So I do have scars all over my body, and I've seen some shit, done some shit, but one thing I haven't done yet is had an arterial bleed. Maybe we'll get that on the next one. Maybe next time I'll get an arterial bleed. It's still on my to-do list. I haven't had that happen yet. I've been in the same room as a person with an arterial bleed, and I've seen a tourniquet put on that person to save their life. I have had that happen before, but in terms of like me doing it, or in terms of me doing it for somebody else, I've literally never done it. So this is why I practice, and this is why I like watching like body cam footage of soldiers doing it, cops doing it, whatever, because I want to know how to do it in case I ever need to put this tourniquet on. And I'm pretty confident that if I need to get this tourniquet on, I can do it and that I can get back into the fight. I do have experience with staying in the fight even with lots of blood loss. It's been a challenge for me because when I have significant blood loss, I do get woozy, and it is difficult to stay in the fight. And so I'm going to give you guys a tip because I've personally suffered with this. I've personally gotten woozy during violent altercations. You need to think of your loved ones. You need to think of your family. You need to think of the people you care about, and that wooziness is going to kind of go away. It's still going to be there, but you need to stay present. But you need to think about what you're fighting for, and you need to remember your will to live, why you're here. You want to protect your family and your loved ones. You need to remember that when you start feeling woozy, and you need to do what you got to do to get through that situation, and you'll be able to sleep later. I'm definitely familiar with a situation where I had to stay present because if I went to sleep, there's a chance I'd never wake up, okay? And so I'm just letting you guys know this is a skill you need 100%. I know a lot of people that are knife fanatics, and they have huge collections of knives that they've spent thousands of dollars on, and they play with chainsaws and knives and crossbows all day. How come you don't own a tourniquet? A good one costs you $30, and if you're constantly playing with knives and crossbows, machetes, chainsaws, stuff like that, you definitely need to have a tourniquet, 100%. If your favorite colors are black and green, you will not be disappointed by this channel. There's a lot of black and green stuff. We love black and green. You guys are going to love my freaking channel, okay? Please check out the rest of my channel. Jordan Jarrett, signing off.